Hello. Welcome back to Hobby News Daily's Hot Corner. I'm Danny still, and I am joined today by Denny from Denny's Cards, or Denny Cards, or Denny's Cards, or Denny's Cards. How are you, Denny?
Hi, Danny. I'm Danny. Nice to meet you. Denny's Cards and on Instagram is actually been getting some of my messages. Uh, so that would be DENNYS_cards. That is not my alt. I forget where he lives, but his name is Denny, and he's like, this person tried to reach out to me, and or they asked me whether I'm you, and so we had a little back and forth about it. So I'm like, thank you, alt account.
Yeah, I mean that's big time. That's part of what I want to talk about today, and I appreciate your people returning my people's calls and letting you free up time.
Well, it always comes down to the fee, the appearance fee. That's probably the hardest thing to hammer down. And when you get down to like that last $5, $10, it's like, do you flip the coin, right? Or who's gonna cave first?
Well,
So
we
it's like,
work off of comps. Like I
yes.
had so and so on, and they were this good. I think you'll be this good. So,
I like that. I like
right?
that. So yeah. So in this instance, the cost was free 99. So we eventually got down to that amount. So we're here. So thank you for having me. And yeah, just any questions you have, whatever that I can help. You know, share anything about with the audience. I'd be glad to.
Well, let's give a little context first.
Mhm.
Um, Talk to me about the card diary. Let the audience know what you do, and so where you're coming from as we have this conversation.
Yeah, great. Thank you for asking about that. So, The Card Diary by Hobbyist Thompson is my podcast. So, people, I it's not named that well. It's not marketed very well by me. But it is a solo podcast where I do have guests come on. But it's a play on the novel name and author, the Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson. And the reason I wanted to select that, even much to the chagrin of several people who were like, "That's the bad name, don't do it." And I was like, "All right, well, all right, I'm just gonna do it anyway."
Yeah.
Um, so basically, Hunter S. Thompson was the godfather of gonzo journalism, just going in, embedding himself in groups such as the Hells Angels and reporting back about it. So that was my angle. My theme was, let me try different things within the hobby and let me report what it's like. So, my most recent thing I did was being a dealer, and I'm not very good at it. I don't purport to be an expert at all, but I just wanted to kind of share my experiences from that. And so, that's what I did. So the car diary, that's the name, that's the reason for the name, and that's the angle or theme that I take. And I'm hoping that ultimately what that does is allows people to see a glimpse of something that they might not have otherwise, or get some sort of understanding, gain some sort of understanding, right? It's like, oh, these dealers are all overpriced and they're all terrible. It's like, well, they have to make table fees, or they traveled all this way, or something. Breakers, oh, they're all breakers are terrible. Well, here's the behind the scenes and how it could kind of look. And so that's what I try to do.
And you, for full disclosure, write for Hobby News Daily. So I
Mhm.
want to let everybody know that we are buddies on and off the screen. So just for
Yes, I really enjoy having that platform, and when it comes to content creation, writing is the original content pre-internet, if that's even a thing.
well, you asked me if you could write on cave walls, and I insisted it got to be on the internet. Other than
Well,
um,
I thought higher. I really thought that just drawings would have been the best way to convey. You know, why buy an '86 Fleer Jordan if you could just draw one on a cave wall?
you know what? Yeah, I'm a lot closer to owning the cave wall one. So,
Yes,
uh, okay. So I do have questions for you as a content
sure,
creator.
sure.
And I guess I've been a content creator. I am a content creator, but in a totally different manner than you. So I'm just fascinated. First of all, what motivated you to start?
I had cards like literally, I mean, I'm not even saying this in a flippant or sarcastic way. I had some friends when I got back into the hobby, this most recent time, which was, this time, not this time last year, like this time a year and a half ago. Um, my friends were on Instagram and they're like, "Oh, look at these cards," and they would send me links, and I'll be like, "You should get Instagram." And I was like, "I don't know, like I really don't, really, I don't have a social media presence outside of my hobby account." And so I started just to follow and just consume content. And my content creation really early on was just posting pictures of my cards on the floor. I had no setup. I had nothing. It didn't look nice. I had a glare in my photos. That classic top loader shine that we all get with the with the circular camera flash. And then I just started learning and started getting better at it. And then it went from my cards to a little video of my cards and making little things that I thought they would be fun to me. And then I started putting my face on camera, and mainly for the representation aspect of things because I know that there are some prominent names, Asian American creators, but people will be like, "Oh, well, we have Dan the Great Curator, we have Pac-Man," but it's like, okay, that's two people, right? And as far as I know, there aren't really any Korean American hobbyists creating content, and I'm Korean American. And so, you know, when I had a discussion with Dan, the Great Curator, he was like, "Well, you can't just talk about representation; you have to be about it too. So, is that important to you?" So, I had a really several good long discussions with my family, and you know, I uh, the pros outweighed the cons, and so I decided to do it. And I guess I haven't looked back since. Although some people would love for me to look back.
Every day is fun on social media, so
Yep.
um, just take it with a grain of salt.
Yes. I have high
How
sodium. My diet, I already have like I already eat too many preservatives in my diet. Just all right, go ahead.
no, you create a lot of content. How often do you actually post or put up a
I mean,
podcast?
like when I was doing the
I mean, in your
pictures of cards,
car,
yeah.
your
So
your your podcast. I mean,
yeah, great question. When first started Denny underscore cards, I did have this logo of like the Denny's diner, and I started posting pictures like morning, lunchtime, and evening. So I would call it like breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't know, something like that. And so I would do 3 picture posts of cards per day. One was like a card from my childhood. One was like a purchase or whatever it was. And at that time, I was like, man, I'm gonna run out of cards and content because I can't keep spending all this money and just to keep this going. And so but then soon after that, I just didn't, you know, it wasn't like a trademark infringement thing. I just didn't like it. I just wanted to change it up. So I had someone just mock up the logo, which you see behind me, which has to do with 90s basketball and NBA Jam, which is my jam, and I love it. And my content just
Ahmad Rashad.
yeah, yes. If he was only playable in the game.
Yeah.
He would be paired up with Jordan because they were such buddies, those
Yes. Yes.
two. I remember NBA Inside Stuff, that little
Yeah.
the show, and Ahmad was just such a fanboy, but weren't we all? We were all fanboys. I mean, we were all jealous of people, anyone who had like an inside glimpse of Michael Jordan's life. We just wanted it. So, um,
I totally threw you off there. I'm sorry.
oh, it's all right. I always sidetrack myself. The original question was how often do I post? So, you know, recently some creators were doing this whole like post over, let's post once a day. And I'm like, what do you mean? I already do that. Like, I
Right.
don't miss a single day. For a while, I just didn't, I would just post something up, and it wasn't always a video, it was just like a picture. I just posted because I just ended up having too much stuff I wanted to say or do or just, give. The whole thing with my content is it is like partly for myself, but also it's outward. It is like performative. Everything on social media is performative. But for me, I am just trying to share my cardboard journey and give people, if they are willing to take it, like a reason to root for me. I'll just post, and don't even collector content where they just show recent mail days and purchases. Aren't they just posting it to be like, look at me, like, look how great this is. Please give me the hearts, and I want to share this with you. And everyone, the collector community all supports each other in doing that. Arguably, is that even content? Just posting a picture of a card, like, and without anything in the captions. I mean, like, if you write something in the caption, sure, that can provide some sort of context and some, be evocative of emotions. But just posting a picture, like, I don't even know if that's content anymore. Maybe it was once, but that's just my opinion. The reels, since you asked about that, I started doing that. Sorry, I gotta put my phone on. I started doing that
That's your entrance to the reels.
right around national time. I think maybe before national time, I did some too. I mean, I definitely showed my face in front of camera before national. I think maybe around like March or April of this past year in 2023. But for me, I started one. I was doing some content video creation while driving, and my wife was like, no, you just she's just put a stop to that. And I was like, you know what, that's reasonable. I'm sorry about my dog back there.
No, we're family friendly here,
Yeah,
so you can invite him in if you want.
yeah. um Hold on, I went on mute for that. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to bore everyone with all the stories of all of this, but basically, like, I kind of like, I found the car to be a really great place from an audio standpoint. Like, I didn't have to have a microphone.
Interesting.
It was like real. It was an enclosed space. It was quiet, right? Like, I have a house with
Interesting.
kids, and, like, even before we started recording, I said to you, like, I have my washer, I have my dryer going on in the background, and I just didn't want that to affect the audio quality. So I like the car from that perspective.
And I told
Yeah,
you, as long as you put the shirt on, we're fine.
yeah, yeah. This is a fresh shirt. So
Right,
warm.
right out of the dryer.
Right out of the dryer. But no, I find
I
you
find
just
that interesting about the audio acoustics.
yeah.
I wonder if it's. I mean, not to be dorky. I wonder if it's different in model by model. I'm gonna. I might actually play around with that.
Oh, you mean like like whether it's like a sedan or like a
Right.
minivan?
Or, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's some luxurious cars that have the best soundproofing in the world. Those are the people who have Michael Jordan PMG cards. That's not me. I
That's
am
a
the
moderate
person.
shot.
I'm in a minivan. Yeah, Ahmad Rashad has all the. Everyone wonders, where are these Jordan PMGs? Where are all these rare Jordan cards? Ahmad Rashad has them all. Obviously,
All of them.
everyone.
All
Yeah,
of them.
he has all of them.
Yeah. And cigars.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, those two, just palling it up, just as we speak, they're just palling it up right now.
So one of the things that you actually commented on that I wanted to touch on was like content ideas and fresh ideas.
Mm.
Do you find that to be a challenge? Do you lean back on kind of your mission of representing, yourself and your message, or is it, hey, let's just have fun today, and the world's not that serious, and I've got a funny thing I want to share, and let's go with that, or is it a combination of everything?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that binary. I really do like the latter of what you said, which is kind of like having fun. That is my main thing. Is I just like to have fun. I would like people to join me on my journey, but do I sometimes do some sappy or like kind of, I don't even know what the right word is, but like, whimsical or nostalgic things. Like, I did a reel which, did okay, but like, I'm not known for it, but it was like it was a vintage baseball card and talking about, my father-in-law. I loved making it. Just the process of making it. And again, even if the Instagram audience didn't like it, like me just showing that to my father-in-law just meant the world to me, and him enjoying it and hearing his story about the Brooklyn Dodgers. There's like the whimsical, like, get you in the feels. Another example would be like when my son and I pulled a Bronny James auto out of Topps Chrome McDonald's All Americans, and
Humble brag.
humble brag, exactly, total humble brag. But it was such a heartwarming moment, mainly because it's Bronny James being the son of LeBron and having that the cardiac arrest, and right before that, we were talking about Andre Stojakovic, who's son of Peja, and just all this stuff, and it just I felt something, and I wanted to share that with my audience. For the most part, am I known for goofy or ridiculous things? I am. I mean, I think that I like making the funny reels or like meme reels, or it's just something goofy just because it makes me laugh. And for the most part, I like funny, content that makes me laugh. So I like to, as a recovering people pleaser, I guess I like to make other people laugh. So,
Well, as somebody who's been in therapy for 30 years and um, has a wife who also enjoys therapy, we could do another hour on people pleasing and yeah, and the motivations and the moving on from that.
well,
Uh,
don't if we say therapy in a sports card podcast or realm, I mean, just
oh wow,
immediately sports card therapist.
wow. Well,
Uh,
yeah, isn't that, yeah? It's a shame.
Oh, so, on the other flip
Yeah.
side, do I sometimes have content that's like, full of hobby drama? Like, I did a whole episode about
Speaking of which,
my feelings about the whole Rob G sports car therapist, and it wasn't supposed to be, it was never my intention to make it like clickbaity or talk bad about someone or like wish them ill will. Like, I wish him, the best. I mean, he is one of the reasons I think that I wanted to create a podcast and set up as a deal at a show, because I was like, it seemed like anyone could do it. And so but what he did was wrong, and I think the cover up was worse than the crime, like kind of ghosting everyone, kind of like card porn did. I mean, that's just something that the community just feels is like, what else are you trying to hide? So I posted about that, or I've made content about it, because again, that's part of my journey. Is here is someone who I regarded highly in the hobby, who kind of like he didn't ask me to put him on a pedestal, but I put him on a pedestal, and he let me down, right? And so I wanted to share that hurt, because initially I was in denial, and then I started accepting it, and then I started getting angry about it, kind of like the classic,
mhm.
therapy, whatever it is, coping. And so I wanted to share that, and when I did, what I found was there was a bunch of people who felt the same way, who reached out to me being like, "Thank you for crystallizing helping me navigate my own thoughts on this too." And so it was almost like I don't mean this in a jokey or like, but it was like a support group. It was like
Like
I
a
was
therapy
supporting
session.
therapy session. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up having some really good chats about it because we were all kind of like trying to process it and digest it. And so I do the reason I do all this I run the gamut of emotions with my content is because I'm a person. I know sometimes people look at content creators or influencers like they're evil or they're bad or they're dumb, and I get all the criticism. And there's there's I think there are people who just hate the man in the arena, kind of like the criticize the person who's doing things. But I am like a person with flesh, and I bleed the same way and I cry the same way. And I think we're all like just well, we try to be better people every day, but like we all have different sides to ourselves, and so I don't hide one side. I just show it all, just because I think that's me. It's like I don't that's authentically me.
Well said. And as somebody who's been married 19 years, I'm very familiar with all my own flaws, and reminded of those. And it's good to stay humble and show appreciation. And
Yeah,
sharing that journey with other people is
yeah,
it's a, excuse the term, it's a little ballsy, and I give you credit for it. I mean,
thanks.
it takes a lot to say, here I am, and actually put yourself out there. It's a lot
Thank you.
easier to just show cards. I mean, to be honest.
Right. No, absolutely. And one of my I don't know what to call it, like a fan troll or a troll fan, but when I set up as a dealer this past weekend, this person who, I know, like they'll never want. Nothing against you. They just
No,
don't
no.
consume this type of content. But they're kind of like really a flipper, and they just do Instagram stuff, and they never like my stuff, but they always, comment. They'll text me and comment or criticize, and privately, or to his group of friends. But he kind of like asked me as I was cleaning up, and said, and we didn't get a deal done because he wanted like some lowball offer, and I was just like, it's all right. I'm just gonna pack up and go home. Um, I don't know what his motivation was for asking this question. Maybe to dig at me or not. I don't know. But he was like, "Don't you ever get tired of posting on Instagram and like doing all that? Like, aren't you just getting sick of it?" And I wasn't gonna like bash him, or like, why would you ask that, or that's a stupid question. But in my head, I was like, that's. So I just responded to him, which is the truth, which is like, why? It's not work to me. I mean, I don't monetize it. I just have fun with it, and why would I get tired of something that I really enjoy doing? So that kind of stopped him there, because I mean that's the truth. But this whole, oh my gosh, like, why do you make so much content, or aren't you like so tired of it? It's like, maybe for you, maybe for those folks, but for me, if it does get tiring, I will stop. When I was sick last week, I didn't post because I was sleeping. I was like recovering. So it was weird for me to not post 2 days in a row, but that's what happened because, again, I'm human. So it felt weird. I was still consuming content and liking people's stuff and DMing people, but for the most part, I just didn't have it in me to like post. So if I didn't, then I didn't. But like I'm pretty like, I am like oversaturated, or whatever you want to call it. Like I do have a lot of content in Instagram, but I don't do X / Twitter. That wasn't short for ecstasy. I don't do X, man. Um, I don't do Twitter. I don't do YouTube. Like, my YouTube
By the
presence
way,
is so
I already
small.
know what clip I'm taking out of this interview.
There you go. Yes, thank
Right,
you. Sound bites, sound
right,
bites. Pin it right here. Pin it right here.
right.
22 minute 22. So I don't do other, TikTok is like minimal, YouTube is minimal, Twitter not much. Like, I have presences in those, just like, I'm squatting on my handles, but I don't make content for those. I cross post. But there are people who have huge YouTube presences, or huge TikTok presences, who aren't very big on Instagram, and that's fine. But I love Instagram. I love the community. It's the perfect social media platform for cards because it's a visual. And so I've been having a lot of fun.
Well, that's awesome. I think one of the reasons that you do well on Instagram, and one of the reasons I prefer Twitter X, is that you're better looking. And I think that's one of the nice things about Twitter, is that I don't have to actually put my face on there.
Uh,
So that's perfect.
Thanks. Do you know how many people have like seriously, like, I mean, I appreciate your kind words, but like, people call me fat, and I know I have a BMI.
I've been called fat for 30 years. At some point, I think I just realized I was.
Yeah, but like, things like,
It
I
hurts.
have I have like a chiseled, rippling six pack. It's just that I have 30 pounds of fat in front of it. Okay.
No, what I tell people is, do you want a six pack or do you want the whole keg?
Yeah, there you go. There you
Right.
go. So yeah, I putting your face out there is a strange thing, but what's so funny is like, we think that some influencers, creators are big on Instagram because we're in the hobby and we're in that world. It is like, not like a drop in the bucket of social media, but it is not a big amount. Like, even the biggest accounts we have in the hobby, like, I can almost guarantee, like, Jeff Wilson can walk around the streets of New York and not get noticed. Like, we're not talking about celebrities, artists, athletes. We're talking just like content creators. That's it.
We're talking about a corner of a niche. I mean,
Corner.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, how has it been for you, and has it changed, or has it changed anything that you do as your? I mean, you have a decent amount of followers,
Mhm.
and as that has grown, talk to me about, first of all, your reaction to the growth. I mean,
Mm,
I don't think, you start out thinking you're going to end up with thousands of followers, but
yeah.
so talk about, when you realize you are a bigger person on
Mm,
Instagram,
mhm.
and then talk about also like the impact on that. Do you think about it more when you do content? Does it just cause more interaction in the comments? How does it affect what you do?
Bigger person, man. I thought we weren't going to talk about the weight thing anymore. So
Well,
so
it's viewers per pound. That's the way
yes,
I do mine.
views per pound. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Yeah, I wonder who is like the best pound for pound social media influencer in the hobby. It's got to be someone like really.
If
It's
you
got to be
ever
like
meet Drew Herndon in person,
True, true. Yes, I have met Drew. Yes.
yes, yes, he
Um.
yeah.
No. Yeah. Shout out to Drew.
Shout out to Dylan in Hawaii, the Double D,
Double D.
Double D. Yeah, he's small and mighty.
Man, Hawaii has such great food though. But okay, we
Yeah.
digress. I kind of made a podcast episode about this, but like the first 1,000, like really, it's so easy. You just follow as many people as you can, and then they follow you, or like you post some content, whatever. Of next 1,000, similar. Um, when I first started coming on Instagram, like I did generally just follow a lot of people, just not to gain a following, but just because there was a lot out there, and I wanted to know what was what. Um, and then you know, you whether you're small or big, you have the bots and you have the scammers and the logo
Mhm.
makers and all that. And I kept those people because they're followers, right? But then as I got bigger, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like these people because people would ask me, oh, they're following you and you're following them. So I thought you knew them or you vouched for them or something. And that just wasn't the case. And so I started shedding those people or those accounts because I didn't think it was like they weren't real people anyway. So um I can't remember what happened from 2 to like 4,000 or whatever, but yeah, like I don't know, like so I would at people make provocative or intriguing content, and I liked some of the things I do. Some of the stuff I do I think is ridiculous and like I'm surprised that hasn't resulted in loss of followers. But you just put yourself out there. You just keep putting yourself out there, putting yourself out there. I think the nationals when I did get like more prominence on like a national stage. I mean,
Pun
no,
intended.
yeah, pardon the pun or whatever it is. But then people were like, "Why is this person on my feed? Like, well, who are you? Do you even collect cards?" The best dig someone did to me was like, "Oh, you're Denny no cards because you don't show your cards. You just show your fat face all everywhere." And I was like, that's a pretty good dig, Denny no cards. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, but do I let it affect me? I would like to say I don't, but that could just be me saying that, but internally, subconsciously, it could be affecting me. I do try to keep myself as the audience. Like, if I think it's funny, I'll do it. Or if I think it's, something that evokes an emotion to me, I'll make it. But when it comes to kind of like that introspection, I will say that it comes more from external factors or external, like, it's comes from people who are like, you should know better. You have a platform now. You should do this. You should do that. And I call the people like I call them shitheads.
Yep.
You should do this. You should do that. And I'm all for if I ask for advice, or guidance, receiving it, and just one data point of many, and just kind of like trying to figure out what I want to do. But I really don't try to let people who try to, should all over me dictate what I do. I'm not gonna make everyone happy. I know that. That's like the biggest thing you could do or the worst thing you could do
Yeah.
is try to appeal to everyone and make everyone happy because then you're not happy.
Well, and people control their own happiness,
Yes.
and you have to accept that. And so, I'm speaking to everybody, not to you. People control their own happiness. If they're having an issue, it's
Hmm.
usually a them problem, not a you
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And if it's a you problem, most of us know it. I
Right.
mean, it's rare that we don't.
Right.
So, I try to take that approach, for anybody who's listening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Curate your own make the algorithm work for you. Curate your own feed. Unfollow people. You know how there are some people who do the whole like, if you like my content, subscribe and follow me. And it's like I never say that. I really don't. I can't remember the last time I ever said that. And it's not because I'm like
I just put it up.
click like and subscribe. Thank you. Wonderful Chiron by Danny there. That's the visual joke. So for me, when it comes to someone who's like, I don't like your stuff, or I'm critical, hypercritical without any like nice, like I can handle criticism. It's just that I don't like it when people treat me like I'm a, you know, just not human, right? So for me, when it comes to the follow me or don't follow me, like I have in the past been like, if you don't like my stuff, just unfollow me or mute me or restrict me, do something, because I want people to be happy. If I am impeding on your happiness, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's just that on your end, you can control whether I come onto your feed or not. And so for people who want to do that, by all means, go ahead. But for people who like my stuff, I don't have to ask them to like or follow me because they invariably will if they want to. So, I think that we all do control our own happiness, especially in social media. Like, come on, like we know you can't block, people in real life, like a coworker. You can't block a coworker, but you can block someone on social media. You totally can.
The mute button's there for a reason. I tell everybody that it's not just a decoration.
Sorry, that was my joke in trying to
If you're
pretend like I had a
listening,
mute
if
button.
you're listening on the podcast, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right. Use the mute button.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we should start recording this. That was a good warm up.
Yeah, no, this has been a one. You know what? This is like uh when a basketball player, I was gonna say like Stephen Curry, but anyone who jacks up like 300 3-pointers before a game, it's like, how do you have all that energy to jack up 300 shots and then play an NBA game? But yes, that's what I feel like. This last
Yeah.
30 minutes was just putting up 300 threes.
Well, I'm glad you're exhausted. Um, as you take the water, just pour it over your head like a
Car cleanse.
like a
Yeah,
runner.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like we'll just don't throw cups of water at you.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
all right, now, Denny, thank you for joining
Yeah,
us on this interview.
yeah.
I hope it was painless, and I hope you'll return.
I mean, there was a lot of pain, but I just powered through it. Your questions were they just really got to me. No, thank you so much for the interview. Glad to do it. I'm glad to be part of the Hobby News Daily and Hobby Hotline teams. You guys got a great group of people, and I just want to be a part of something. You know, like that's just. Don't we all do that for that type of reason? We all just want to be a part of something. So thank you so much.
No, I thank you. I always say if we're judged by our friends, then I'm going to put you out front. So I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. To everybody else, click like and subscribe, and you can catch Denny, and I had it up here on the Card Diary by Hobby S
Yeah.
Thompson
Yeah.
podcast, and
Hmm.
follow him on Instagram, but not on TikTok or Twitter X.
Yeah. No, just
You
block
won't
me.
you won't find him there.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you in the green room. To everybody else, have a good
All
one.
right.
Take care.
Thank you.